that you're here and joining us in this wonderful day as we move ahead into this beautiful month of November. And as we move ahead in our book too, the study of the art of life, which was once called This Thing Called Life by Ernest Holmes. And we're into the fifth chapter already. It's amazing how quickly it all goes. And in the fifth chapter, really, he gets down to the nuts and the bolts of what it is to have an understanding of science of mind and its practice of the heart. And he says that the greatest of all discoveries, the greatest of all things, is the realization of the consciousness of the power of life, the power of God within you. And he adds that to the one who can consciously understand and know this and apply it and use it, great good comes into their life. Great good comes into their life, and they begin to live a life of wonderful affirmation. Wonderful affirmation. And he says, when this happens, when you wake up, when you catch the consciousness of a power greater than you are, the power in the universe that is so much greater than all of us and anything we could imagine, that we get to use, once we wake up to that and begin to realize that that's available to me right here and right now, and start to apply it, start to respond to it, start to consciously direct that power for good in the direction of good for myself and other people too. He says, then we embark upon a new adventure, a new adventure. And life opens up in ways unimaginable. And he says, that's there for you and that's there for me to be in response to. So that you get a sense of the moreness in life, that I'm not just this lone thing on this plane. I'm not just this separate individual, unique unto myself in a way that nobody else could possibly ever understand me, or I could never understand anybody else, because that's how huge that gap of separation is, that we don't have that sense and sensibility of a unified state of being, of a communal state of being, of an interpersonal state of being. We can get lost in our own aloneness. And I'm not saying that for some people they don't enjoy that. Some people do. I'm not talking about loneliness. I mean lost in our sense of aloneness, separateness, you see, apart fromness. And Ernest Holmes is saying, look, we don't have to live that way any longer because of this power in the universe greater than we are, that we can use consciously and direct it to our good consciously. And living this life of affirmation, affirmation, affirmation. Now he calls affirmation that which we decree, declare, pronounce. We announce something, we declare something, we assert something. That's what affirmation is. And he says that the greatest and the most fundamental things in all of life and living is indeed the creative power of affirmation. It's the key to life. It's the secret of life, he says. The key and the secret of life. Now, he said, when you and I wake up and we catch the consciousness of something more than ourselves happening right where ourselves happen to be, not up there, out there somewhere or another, but right where we are, there's something greater than we are going on. That we can take all our woes and all our wails too, but not in the traditional way of turning up a sighing and a sobbing and a pleading and an imploring to a God out there somewhere. There never was such a God. There never will be such a God because of omnipresence. Duh. Omnipresence. Everywhere present. That means not up there in heaven, away from me somewhere, but right where I am, present to me exactly as I am, good, bad, or indifferent. It's a mystery. We were not taught enough about the mystery of life in our traditions and in our Western culture. We were taught that here it is, and this is what it is, and this is how it is. Now just learn all of this, and that's the way it is, and no questions. I can remember questioning in school, and I was regarded as being impudent. Talking back. So it's written down. There it is. It's written in the book. There it is. Apply it and follow it, and that's all you have to do. Now, I loved the catechism when I was a kid. I learned all the answers. And I remember being given a penny once because I answered all the 10 questions in the first chapter. This was good. That was incentive to learn all the other chapters. See? Money has power. Money has power, there's no doubt about it. But you've got to use it wisely and well. But one of the questions was, why did God create you? And the answer was, God created me to know God, to love God, to serve God here on earth, and to be happy with God in heaven. Well, great, that was good. That was fantastic. It's a very metaphysical statement. What we didn't get was the further teaching of the master teacher, Jesus. You see, we got that work and slug your guts out here on earth, suffer in silence, offer it up, and your reward in heaven will be great. Heaven being up there, out there, away, far from you, never to be understood or realized while you were on earth. Impossible. And yet, the master teacher, Jesus, said, if you're looking for the kingdom of heaven, stop looking for it out there or over there, low here or low there. It's not there. Lo, the kingdom of heaven is within you. It's at hand. It's here. It's now. And it's in you. Well, that didn't fit the catechism answer to part 2. And to be happy with God forever in heaven in the sweet by and by. You see. And that's what this teaching is all about. And it's not just the teaching of science of mind, it's ancient wisdom. This is in every religious tradition from time immemorial on the side of the mystics. On the side of the mystics, all of the mystics knew this. All of the mystics knew this. That God was immanent as well as transcendent. That God was present here right now as well as being present everywhere else too. And if you and I could get our spiritual arms around that, we would become unstoppable. And nothing that crossed our paths would faze us, nothing. Nothing. No matter what it was, it wouldn't faze us because we would know there's something more about this tragedy. We would have a sense of the something more about this sadness. We would have a sense of something more about this loss, about this whatever ailment it is, whether it's mental or physical or spiritual or emotional. We would have a sense of something more than that going on. And we'd have a sense of something more of good coming out of all of that. And we would have a sense that there's nothing lost of myself in it all, but there's more of myself to be gained by means of it happening. And that everything that crosses my path can grow me or shrink me. And the choice is mine. The choice is mine. There is a power, a creative force available to you and to me right now, and I can use it and you can too for whatever good I desire to experience in my life, provided I have a conviction beyond the shadow of a doubt that this is so. We always find our way coming back to faith. Now, what is faith? It's very misunderstood. It's very misunderstood. Faith is an absolute conviction in the existence of something I cannot prove. The absolute conviction in the existence of something I cannot prove. And I don't need to prove, because I know. Because I know, here I know. Have you ever known something deeply within yourself when everybody else was knowing something else? And you were saying, oh, no, I know, no. I know something else. I know something else. It might have been about yourself or about somebody else. But you had that conviction, and nothing was going to dislodge you from that awareness. And you turned out to be right. Or somebody else you knew had a deep conviction about something that everybody else was saying, oh, no. And it turned out to be right. Now that's the power there. It's the conviction. It's the conviction. It's like the lady that was always affirming, God is good, God is love, God is whole, God is perfect, God is complete, making all of these positive statements, and they're beautiful. And she came to Ernest Holmes one day and she said to him, you know, it's not working for me. I mean, I'm knowing God is good, I'm knowing God is whole, I'm knowing God is complete, I'm knowing God is the fullness of everything, but I'm still just eking out a living, and I'm not getting any more of my music students to come along to me. And Ernest Holmes, of course, nicely pointed out to her that affirmations without conviction and identification are not much use at all. There had to be an identification with the statement, God is good, therefore I am of God and can say I am good too. God is the fullness of life, therefore I can say the fullness of life is available to me too. I have to identify with what I recognize in order to be able to announce and declare the good that I desire. Because of myself, I'm not going to be able to do that. It's impossible. Because it's not me that's doing any good. It is the power, it is the presence of the goodness itself in life moving through me, because somehow or another I've managed the gumption, the spiritual gumption, to get out of its way and let it flow through. The only thing that belongs to you and to me are our mistakes, our sinfulness, if you want to call it that, our mistakes, our ignorance, our unconsciousness. That's all that really belongs to us. We can own that perfectly well. Absolutely. But we are not all mistakes, and you know that, and I know it too. A lot of good flows into life as a result of you being in it and I being in it too. Well, where does that come from? It comes from the power and the presence of goodness itself that resides within you, that you've managed to get out of the way of and let flow through you. You have accommodated it. You have shown up to be its instrument. You have allowed that to overcome the narrow, confined, limited, negative thinking and consciousness that is a human construct and that humanity is very prone to. You've allowed yourself to shut that down, stop that long enough for this good to come through you out of the good thought and impulse that was within you, coming from the source of your being. That's what this teaching is all about, and all ancient wisdom. We're not just belonging to this little merry band of people called, you know, religious scientists. Religious science comes out of all of the ancient wisdom that has been handed down through the generations. There's nothing new in it. It's just a new way of stating the obvious, the old teaching, the ancient wisdom. That's all. And it's open to allowing that wisdom to come to us from whatever source it comes from. There's truth in every religious tradition. Now, getting back to faith. Faith misunderstood, because very often, and we'll have that today, We have an interfaith celebration here today, which I'm knowing we will support and respond to. Several interfaith groups coming together to praise and raise our spirits in a beautiful concert form, to raise funds to support the South Coast Interfaith Council that works its sweet spiritual derriere off to bring about greater understanding between spiritual groups. And also to get out there into the world and do good, show up and feed the hungry and the poor and build with Habitat for Humanity and all of that. Now, we talk about faith traditions. There's no such thing as faith traditions. There are religious traditions. Faith is faith. It's not a religion. You can have a strong faith and have no religion. You can have strong faith and be an atheist. You can have a strong faith without anything else besides as far as an ideology that you espouse. Strong faith in this, a strong faith in that, a strong faith in the other. Of course, you can be part of a religion and experience a strong faith too. You can have faith in. But faith is purely, nakedly, the conviction, beyond the shadow of a doubt, in something that doesn't exist without being able to prove it. That's what faith is. It's a feeling, it's a power, it's an energy, it's a force to be reckoned with. And that's what we bring to our affirmations, our announcements, our decrees, our declarations, our assertions, when we're declaring the truth of some good for ourselves. So it's easy and hard at the same time. It's easy to get square in our minds the good that we want to realize. It's easy enough to accept that there is a power greater than we are, and it assists us and it supports us. The hard part of it is getting the feeling and the conviction of that to match it. That's the hard part. Because your affirmation has to be in alignment with your feeling. Emotion and thinking must be on the same page, on the same line, in the same state of knowing and understanding and accepting and allowing and saying yes to, for that good to happen. And it's not easy. If it was easy, we'd all be doing it. But it's there, it's possible, and it's available. And the scriptures say God awaits our availability, awaits us to show up, wake up, and get it. Now, that's not to say that anybody who wakes up in consciousness will never be challenged again or ever have something hard cross their path. That's baloney. That's not true. As long as you're wearing a human body, there will be things that happen in life that challenge us. It's just the way it is. The only difference is we don't get scared of them. We don't get frightened of them. We don't run away from them. We don't bury our heads in the sand as a result of them. We stand up like the little girl with the bowl of cherries or wherever she is, and we look at the thing and we'll say, "You don't worry me. You don't trouble me. You will not control me. You will not take over me. You will not get the better of me. You will not bring me down." It's the person that spiritually can look at something like that and say, "Bring it on." Because there's a power stronger than you are that can speak to you. And so in affirming the truth, in decreeing the good that we desire to realize, what we do is, in the face of sorrow and sadness, we declare joy. In the face of any kind of ailment, we declare health. In the face of any kind of lack or limitation, we declare abundance. in the face of any kind of disruption, disunity, and disharmony, we declare unity and harmony, and so on. That's what we do. That's what we can do. But it only works if we can feel it, if we can believe it, if we can let go all the what ifs, if we can let go of all the buts, if we can let go of all of the nonsense that would proclaim and declare something other than the truth. So always what we're asked to do is to take the power to the lie, the power to the opposition of the truth, and declare it. And then what we're asked to do is to go away and leave it alone and relax and release and let go and let the good, let God, whatever you conceive God to be, let the good, let life itself move on what you have declared, because that's its job. There is a law in life, and the job of the law in life is to take what you have declared and find a way for that to come into your life and into your experience. That's its job. So once you have become clear, convicted, declared your truth, you let that go, and you go about your business, and you get on with your daily life and living. And you let all that cook itself up. It's like you've put it in the oven, now the oven is going to cook it. And you know what happens when you keep opening an oven if you put a cake in. Or a souffle. Leave it alone. Go about your business, leave it alone. And when the whistle goes off, when the cooking is done, that's when you open the oven and you take it out and you say, oh, isn't this mighty, isn't this wonderful, isn't this good? Now that's all there for you, and you can do this. You can move into the power that is being given to you. It's your inheritance. It's your inherent power, and you can use it. It is that infinite, intuitive intelligence within you. It's the interior knower within you. Direct knowledge comes from outside. Interior knowledge comes from within. And the within is much bigger and higher and wider and huger than the outside. It's there for you. And so I'm knowing this week, my dear ones, that we are going to take much more control of the way we're moving through our lives. And we're going to be far more affirmative than we ever have been. We're going to make up our minds this week to affirm everything. We're affirming, we're only into affirmation. We're denying, we're negating nothing. We will not negate a thing this week. We will affirm, affirm, affirm. And when we see the negation, we'll take the affirmation to the negation and say, that's all I'm knowing, that's all I'm open to, that's all I'm available for, is just the positive, the positive, the positive, the affirmative, the affirmative, the affirmative. Because life is always affirming itself in some shape, way, make, or form. Always. And life is always in a forward movement, regardless of how it seems to be. It's always in a forward movement. So it's up to you, my dear ones, what it's to be. Negation, affirmation. Same old, negative ways of doing, saying, being, feeling, and all of that. Or will it be something new and different, as Ernest Holmes says, a new adventure of affirmation? Affirming and praising and raising and uplifting and advancing and supporting and doing all of that great stuff that is your true nature to do. And when you do it, you feel so very good. So very, 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 very good. It's not to say you won't feel this and that and the other. Feel it and then let it go. Feel it and let it go. Honor it by feeling it and recognizing it and letting it go, but be your great affirmative self this week, because God knows the world needs your affirmation, and so it is.
We invite you to experience Dr. Moira in person on Sundays. Our services are at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., and childcare is available. Please join us. If you enjoy these messages and would like to make a donation to our center, please visit our website at redondocsl.org. Thank you for your support of this ministry.